Welcome to our second episode of Eagle Talk. If you're a golf fan, you're going to have a great time this week. We've got head coach of the women's golf team, Mckeel, and Georgia Dawson, his star player, joining us on the show this week. David, it's probably been a crazy week for you. You've got homecoming coming up. You've had 3 home volleyball matches this week, 2 soccer matches.
Oh yeah, we had soccer. We got a win against Kinston. We're 2-0 so far this week. We got Goldsboro in the gym right now going, so it's 3 straight volleyball games tonight this week. We've also got homecoming. It's been Spirit Week all week at West Craven. We've got the homecoming game against South Lenore Friday night at 7 o'clock. It's been a crazy week. But we also got, along with girls golf this week, we also got Miss Kandice Tanner of the WC Band. Their band classic is this Saturday. It's a big event. We've got Miss Tanner on here to talk a little bit about the WC Band.
She said 14 bands coming.
14. It's an all-day event too. I've been to some of them in the last few years. It's a crazy day, but there's food, snowy time, snow cones. There's everything you want all day long. It's a crazy day. And we also, last week we had Mr. Tabari Wallace. This week we went right to the top of Craven County Schools. Dr. Megan Doyle, she's going to be with us for our Eagle 8 picks. So it's going to be a good show
Can't
today.
wait to see who she picks.
Also this week, though, we want to give a shout out to all the West Craven coaches, all the West Craven student athletes we got. This week, the NCHSAA also recognized us as being an ejection-free school from last school year. We were one of 8 schools out of, I believe, there's 42 high schools in Region 2 of the NCHSAA. We were one of 8 that were recognized on Tuesday for being ejection-free last year. Really appreciate all the work our coaches do and our student athletes in ensuring that sportsmanship is a key thing around here and that we were recognized. The first time in recent memory that I can ever remember us being recognized for that. So, that's a great accomplishment. Shout out to our coaches and our student athletes for that.
That's awesome.
And if you can believe it or not, Hood, they've allowed us on the social media waves one more week.
That's right.
So this is week 2. Like Hud said, we've got a great lineup for you. We're coming back with Hud and Coach Mckeel next.
All right, we got Coach Mckeel with us today. He's the women's golf coach. Mike, how long have you been coaching golf?
2 years. Luckily, unfortunately, Miss White left to go to another job opportunity, and it came open. And when you got golfers like Georgia Dawson, you kind of want to go be with them. And for 2 years now, it's been a fun ride to watch Georgia play.
I tell you got golfers like that. Makes your job easy.
It does. All I got to do is ride around on the golf cart and mark the score down on the scorecard.
Hey, that ain't bad. That ain't a bad deal. A lot of people don't know. Me and you go way back, all the way back to elementary school.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
That's it. You long snapped for my dad, and
Yeah.
when I kicked. So a lot of people don't know how far we go back. Talk a little bit about your golf team. I know Georgia's your only golfer, but she's doing great things out there.
She's won 6 in a row. She's playing. Her average is coming down. One thing that's improved with Georgia this year is her mental toughness on the golf course. When things are going bad, she gives me the fist pump, and when she gives me the fist pump, I know she's focused and she's going to turn it around. And her average is coming down. It's lower than where it was last year going into the conference tournament and the regional play. So we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the season has in store for her.
That's awesome. We don't have a course right around here. Who do y'all use as your home course?
We use Harbor Point at Fairfield and the Emerald at Greenbrier. They allow us to practice and play there, and both great courses, and Georgia likes playing on both of them.
Nice. Dan and Jerry, great guys to work with, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
They always take care of us. So big Wake Forest fan, Mike. Who you got in the game this weekend? They would go up to BC. Who are you taking in this game?
Well,
I got to figure out what my pick's going to be in the next section.
I'm a big Wake Forest guy. My brother played there.
Right.
Actually, I went and saw Wake Forest and Boston College play last year during the hurricane. Ryland and I went up there. It was Ryland's first college football game to go to, and they got to go to Chestnut Hill, but the Deacons are on a roll. Everybody was Mac is back, but
Right.
Wake Forest ended that a little bit, but we're gonna roll with the Deacons, and hopefully everything keeps on going.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show. We
Yeah.
appreciate you being here talking about women's golf.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you to Snowy Time and all that you do for West Craven Athletics.
All right, we're back with Kandice Tanner now of the West Craven Band. This is her second year with West Craven. Kandice, we welcome you to Eagle Talk. Appreciate you being here. Give us a little background. The WC Band, I think sometimes we take it for granted a little bit, how big you guys are, what you guys do on Friday nights around football games, and then just outside of the football games, probably what non-band people don't see is you guys are at competitions every Saturday. What really goes into being a band student at West Craven, the hours, all that? Like you said earlier off camera, it's almost like another sport. Just give us a little background on what it's like being a band.
So band member at West Craven is, we have 2 weeks in August before school starts, and we spend, me and Mr. Lispy and the instructors especially, we spend from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. We do sectionals with percussion, and then the afternoon, evening, we'll do we'll do brass and woodwinds, we'll work on some drill music, and then we just hit it, and then the second week, we're all outside, summer beating on us, hopefully it doesn't rain. If it rains, then we lose a lot of time making our show. Today, this afternoon, we were going from straight after school to 5 o'clock. And a lot of the kids are getting beat, they're exhausted, but we're also excited because it's our first competition season coming up. The kids are definitely excited for it.
Well, that's good. I really do. I really think a lot of people take that for granted, how much work you guys really put into those competitions. And when something, just like any other sport team, when something goes wrong with an instrument or something, everybody hears about it, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. So I'm glad you're here today to talk about that. The other thing, this year's band thing, I know that's always a big thing. I've attended some of the band awards the last few years with my daughter being in the band. It seems like the band members are always jacked up to know what the next theme is for the next year. Give us a little background on what this year's theme is, and then maybe how you guys come about deciding those themes every year.
So this year's show is called The Tree of Life, and we are taking an idea from last year's experience that everyone had with the hurricane. So it starts off with a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden the storm comes, and then, as we all know, after the storm, and then the recovery and how we all come back and rebuild as a community. And at first finding a show was really hard for me and Ms. Realty and the instructors. We listened from, I think we started listening in February, and we didn't really confirm on a show until, I want to say, like late April, like this is what we were gonna do. So we already started for next year's. We had an idea, but this year's show, that is what we have, and it's finally coming together. The kids are getting more into it with the sound effects and the props. We're hoping by November 2nd, when we go to Havelock, we'll perform once, and then we'll perform the final time and get a great trophy to go with it.
Awesome. So this weekend, you got your band classic coming up. Talk a little bit about that.
So our band classic is one of our biggest things we do. It helps the band out with money. It starts the gates open at 1:30. Admission is $7 for adults, $5 from 5-year-olds to 12, and then it's free for the little ones. And we have 14 bands coming from Eastern Carolina. We have ours, of course, performing late at night. We have New Bern and Havelock, so they will also be performing, and a bunch of other bands. Don't ask me which ones, I cannot remember, other than those 3.
Awesome. Well, please, all you people out there watching, stop by the band classic on Saturday. Gates open at 1:30.
1:30.
Show starts at 3.
Welcome back to Eagle Talk, brought to you by Snowy Time 252. Anytime you need a sweet treat, make sure you stop by the bus on Friday night at every home game. They're also in Vanceboro and around different locations in New Bern. So make sure you stop by and get a snow cone from Snowy Time 252. We're joined now by our lone senior girls golfer, Georgia Dawson, today. Georgia, 4 years, you're a senior. It always goes by fast for everybody that turns a senior. You're ready to get out of here, but man, it goes by so quick. Give us a little background on how did you get started in golf, because I'm going to brag about you here in a little bit. You're really good. How did you get started at a young age and to progress to where you are today?
It was mostly about the golf cart. My dad told me, like, hey, you can go with me, you can ride around on them. So that's what I did. I showed up one day, and I got to drive the golf cart around the whole course, and then he let me hit a couple balls, and I was like, well, maybe this would be fun. So that's kind of how I got into it.
That's good, that's good. This year, you're going into 6 wins in a row Let me say that again, 6 wins in a row that Georgia here has going in to Monday's match. Your average in score right now is 41. I believe that's a stroke or 2 better than you were last year. Just give us a little view on where you think you are right now.
I think I'm a lot better than I was last year. I'm a lot more motivated. I think maybe because it's my senior year, it's my last shot at doing this. And I really want to play more matches and get as much playing time as I can in order to practice for regionals and states that are coming up.
Okay. You're a 3-time regional qualifier, a 3-time state qualifier. Obviously, the goal is going to be to go for 4 this year. But what's kind of your thought process in that? How do you mentally prepare for that? And that's our goal for you. But is that your goal for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm gonna go. I mean, last year I was really nervous because it was my 3rd year. You know, I'd already gone my freshman, sophomore year, and I didn't want to lose my streak. And so at regionals, I was really nervous, and I ended up shooting the best score I've ever shot. And so I think I'm gonna go into regionals this year with the same attitude.
Okay. As a student athlete at West Craven, you've been here 4 years. What's your favorite subject? Who's your favorite teacher, and why are they that?
My favorite subject has to be PE. I've taken it every year, sometimes twice a year when you're only allowed to take it only required to take it once in high school. And my favorite teacher, I don't necessarily have a specific one because all my teachers I've gotten along with, they've always been my friends, they've always helped me out. So that's kind of it.
That's a great answer why you still need some grades this year. Every teacher is your favorite teacher. Georgia's going to be competing on Monday at Harbor Point down in Fairfield Harbor. That match starts at about 2:30. If you can make it out there, they're free. Come out, watch Georgia. She's magnificent out there on the golf course. Come watch her participate and play on Monday if you can. She's playing in, I believe, 2 matches next week. But again, it's going to be home at Harbor Point in Fairfield Harbor. Up next on Snowy Time 252 Eagle Talk, we're going to go to our Eagle 8 picks. We've got a special guest for you next. Welcome back to Eagle Talk. Now we'll go with our Eagle 8 picks of the week. Let's recap last week real quick. Myself and Mr. Wallace, our celebrity guest picker last week, we're both 7-1. Hud, you picked the upset with App State, so you came in with a perfect 8-0 score. Giving you props on that.
Appreciate it.
Last week we went over with our state principal of the year, our Craven County Schools principal of the year, Mr. Wallace. Today we went straight to the top. We got Dr. Megan Doyle, superintendent of Craven County Schools, with us today. Dr. Doyle, we really appreciate you being here today.
I'm happy to be here. There's good things happening at West Craven High School, and you guys are really trying to get your school name out there and not just celebrate your athletes, but celebrate every kid. So I'm really appreciative of that.
Thank you. So let's jump right into it. The Eagle 8 picks for the high school. We're going to bounce around this week, around the state a little bit. But today we'll start with a 1A game. It's going to be Wake Christian Academy. They're 3-1. They're going to visit Rosewood, a 4-1 team. Rosewood, pretty good down there, right outside of Goldsboro, Raleigh area.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm gonna go with Rosewood just because that 4-1 score. They're scoring a lot of points this year. I'm gonna go with Rosewood.
Yeah, I think they're averaging almost 50 points a game, so I think they just keep it rolling. They roll over Wake Christian.
And they're a team that is perennially in the playoffs deep, and so I'm going with Rosewood too.
Rosewood across the board there. In the EC 3A, 4A, we got a 3-2 South Central team going to a 4-1 CB ACOC team. I'm gonna go with the home team here. I'm gonna go with the 4-1 ACOC team. We'll see what happens.
I tell you, I'm gonna have to stay around here, South Central. I think they're gonna pull this one out.
South Central's been playing tough, but I think I'm gonna pick CBA Cock on this one too.
There we go. In the EC 2A conference, our conference, we've got a 3-1 Washington team going to Coach Gieselman's 3-2 Kinston team. However, Kinston was picked to win our conference this year. The stats say they should win this game by 2. However, they've had some injuries. I think they got guys back this week, but I'm gonna go with Coach Blank in Washington, pulling, if you want to call it an upset on the road. I'm gonna go with Washington at Kinston Friday.
I agree with you, David. I don't know if this is an upset, but I think Washington's gonna get it done. They're really banged up.
I don't know if I can go. I'm going with Kinston at home every time.
Kinston at home, there it is. Out west in the 3A division, we added this one in. Chip Buckwell, superintendent of schools out there, Kannapolis City Schools. Mike Newsom is the head coach. He's an old Charlotte guy. Back when I was in Charlotte, I know that name. So we've got an A.L. Brown 2-1 squad going to Davie, who's 3-2. I'd like to pick A.L. Brown. I used to live there right down the street from the school, but I'm gonna go with the home team here. I'm gonna go with Davie on Friday night.
I tell you, the only common opponent they've had is West Rowan. I believe A.L. Brown came out pretty victorious there, blew him out a little bit. Davie lost, so I'm gonna take A.L. Brown.
A.L. Brown, I think, is strong. I hate picking for Chip Buckwell after the tearing up he's been doing to me on Twitter, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick A.L. Brown this week.
A.L. Brown. Hud, you wanna go with our Eagle 8?
Yeah, we got 4 college games to pick from here. We got NC State. My Wolfpack's going down to Florida State. Oh, my heart says for the Wolfpack, but my head says Florida State. So I'm gonna take the Noles in this one.
I'm going Florida State.
Florida State's, I'm gonna be the odd one here. I'm gonna go NC State. I just think Florida State's struggling this year. They're gonna have to prove something to me, so I'm gonna go NC State right now.
Okay, next up we got Wake Forest at BC. BC struggling a little bit. They took that big loss to Kansas. I don't know how that happens, but they rebounded a little bit last week with a win over Rutgers. That's not really saying much. I'm taking the Deacons on the road.
I'm going with Wake Forest too. They played a real tough game against my Tar Heels. Not that my Tar Heels are really anything to talk about, but they're coming along the next couple of years. I'm going with Wake. They're playing strong this year.
Well, you gotta be pretty smart to go to Wake Forest, so I'm gonna make a smart pick. I'm going with the 4-0 Deacons.
That's right.
Let's roll.
I like it. Next up we got Virginia at Notre Dame. This is, to me, I think Notre Dame is going to roll on them. I think Virginia's okay, but I don't know if they're ready for that. That's a tough place to play up there. We went up there last year and got it handed to us. So I'm going to say Notre Dame rolls.
I think Notre Dame showed some weakness last week. I think they might be heading for another loss. I'm picking Virginia.
Teams usually bounce back, but I'm gonna go something about that 4-0 ACC team in Virginia. They're ranked at 18th this week. I'm gonna go with the Cavaliers on the road.
It'll be a close game no matter what, I think.
All right. Next up, last one, USC at Washington, our Pac-12 pick this week. USC got a backup quarterback, still playing well. Washington just got a big win over BYU. I think Washington's going to get it done this week.
I'm picking Washington alone.
I found an interesting stat. USC is 9-21 in September road games since 1992. But something about USC, I can't say I'm a fan, but just something watching them, I kind of like, so I'm gonna go with the Trojans this Friday night.
Okay.
Dr. Doyle, while we got you here, again, we really appreciate you being here tonight with us. But just tell us a little bit about maybe the 1920 school year. I know we just started, we're only about a month into it, but just tell us maybe how it started, not necessarily at West Craven, but just across the board in the whole district.
Well, I think the big thing is that we have a little bit of momentum this school year that we really haven't frankly had in 3 years for me. We have started out, we had a little bit of a blip with Hurricane Dorian, but we're able to have a couple of continuous weeks of teaching and learning, and that's huge for us right now. And I think all of our teachers are happy to have some normalcy, and our students really need it. So I think we're having a strong start, and I look forward to us staying strong for the rest of the school year. We're going to finish the way we intend to finish.
Oh, definitely. I know, I speak for probably a lot of teachers and administrators, really appreciate your leadership through those hurricane things. That was not easy. I know the media tried to give a little behind the scenes glimpse on what was going on during that time, but it was really crazy. And your leadership through that was real helpful. We appreciate that.
I appreciate that. We learned a lot of lessons. I hope we don't have to learn them again.
Going along, we did have Miss Candice Tanner of the West Craven band here. We got the band classic this Saturday here at West Craven. Just give us maybe, from a superintendent's view, students that do more than, there's nothing wrong with just being in the classroom and walking the hallways, but the students that get involved in athletics, students that get involved in the arts, whether it's a club or something like the band, how important is that for our students?
I think it's really important. I think, although there's nothing wrong with a student who doesn't participate in athletics or extracurricular activities, there's a lot of correlation between how they're going to be successful in life and that participation.
Week 2, Hood, we went to the game tape last week. We saw some things we didn't like that we're going to improve on, but we're going forward. And week 3 will be coming out in about a week. We hope to do every week. We might get every other week, but we're a work in progress.
That's